One Irix guy here. I just wanted to put together another prepping video. Now, if you haven't watched my other videos and you're not familiar with the term prepping, basically at a high level what prepping is making preparations for an unexpected natural disaster, world war, economic collapse, etc. So what would one do if an SHTF scenario occurred? Well, one thing that everyone should have, sorry I had something fly on my face, everybody should have a plan, and that plan should entail a bug out plan. Now, a bug out plan, all that a bug out plan is getting out of one's residence. You know, for whatever reason, maybe that particular area is affected, and it's imperative that that everyone migrates to another area. A bug out bag is at a high level a self-contained survival kit, something you can wear on your back that will have all the essentials to enable you to survive for a specified amount of time. Now, in my bug out bag, and all it is, it sounds crazy, a bug out bag, all it is a frame pack for backpacking. But what a frame pack for backpacking enables one to do is carry a large amount of goods on their back. So in the bug out bag, the things that I recommend a sleeping bag. And this is just like a backpacker's mummy bag. I would recommend a 0-degree bag or so, because you never know where you might have to migrate to. It may be a colder weather environment. I would also recommend a tent, a lightweight tent, backpacker tent. That's something you can pitch for shelter. Ultimately, that's probably going to wear out over time, but at least for the, and hopefully an SHTF scenario would only last a few days instead of weeks. But if it did last a matter of months or years, that tent would probably wear out. But hopefully by that time, the person that bugged out would have met up with some other people and formed a tribe, a survival group of sorts, to rebuild an alternative community or whatever to live in, since the place that the person had to bug out from is not a place they want to be. So a tent, sleeping bag, magnesium fire starter stick. Now, you can get all of this at an outdoor store. What a magnesium fire starter stick is you can shave off shavings of that magnesium, and then it's got a thing on the back that'll spark. You can spark it with a knife, and in essence what it'll do, it'll make creating a fire out of a small pile of whittled sticks, dry whittled sticks. The magnesium will flame up, help to quickly light those small shavings of sticks, and then in your teepee formation, if you've watched my other videos about how to build a fire, those will catch, and then you can add larger pieces of wood to the fire. So that magnesium fire starter stick is key, because matches are going to burn up and lighters are going to run out of butane. So you can't, and you need to have those in there. I would have matches in a waterproof bag or waterproof container, lightweight of course because carrying on your back, and then also a few lighters, because those are going to be nice luxuries, but they're not going to last forever. And neither is that magnesium fire starter stick if this SHTF scenario is of a considerable duration. Other things that one would want in the bag would be water purification tablets. Now, you can get these at an outdoor store. You drop them in water. It helps to remove all of the harmful bacteria that can be in there, and all kinds of parasites that if you do drink can really wreak havoc on someone's health. And I mean, usually it's not fatal, but it can definitely put someone out of commission, and that would be a problem if having to bug out a long distance was a necessity. If someone had acquired some sort of sickness from drinking water, that would slow them down and potentially put them at risk. So that's another thing to put in there. Also, and keep in mind, there's only a limited amount of room on your back, but a very compact mess kit, lightweight compact mess kit, just something you eat off of for backpacking, because that's got your your plates. You can boil water in that. That's another thing. If you run out of purification tablets, put your water in there and boil it to kill all the bacteria. So a mess kit is a necessity. Other necessities, of course, you want to have a good knife, just a heavy-duty survival knife, and I would also have a pocket knife as backup. If you lose your knife, if it gets stolen, and a survival knife is important not only because it enables you to whittle sticks to start fires, and perform other tasks, but it's also a form of protection. And keep in mind, with a survival knife, you could lash it to a stick and make a spear for hunting. So that's another perk to having a survival knife, which brings up another point. Bring a lot of paracord. Put a lot of paracord in your bug out bag, because paracord can be used for a variety of purposes. The example of lashing the survival knife to the stick is one. Paracord can also be used to attach to tarpaulins and or other objects to make shelter. It can be used to tie sticks together to create shelter. It can be used as a tourniquet if you get injured. Paracord's a must. Flashlights, definitely have a flashlight, and I would actually have two flashlights. One thing I would recommend would be a headlamp with some extra batteries for it, and then I would have a conventional flashlight that's preferably waterproof in case the headlamp falls off, gets stolen, etc. You got a backup. So batteries aren't going to last you forever, but at least by having a flashlight, and flashlight's more of a luxury, but it's something I would try to put in there. Most importantly, food. Pack as much. Pack dehydrated food, and the Mountain House stuff's really good. And I would probably pack enough of that at least for a few days. And you're gonna need water too. But I would go more food than I would water, and the reason being is that if your bug out location, if you know there's a stream there, you can probably getting water is going to likely be easier than going out and hunting or fishing to catch food. But then again, a person can survive longer without food than they can water. So really make sure that your bug out location, preferably it wouldn't just have one stream, but if that one was, let's say it was dried up or it was under control of a group of people that were hostile, it would be good to have another backup water source in mind. So what else would one put in a bug out bag? Let's see. Clothing. Extra clothing, because if you're in a cold environment, maybe it's not cold when you have to bug out, but if this scenario lasts for a few weeks or months, it may turn into cold weather. So be sure there's some warm clothing in there. And what I recommend with backpacking or survival is layers, as opposed to one big bulky coat or whatever, because with the layers you can add more as needed. With the coat, number one, it takes up a lot of room in the pack, and then it also you can't layer it. I mean, it's just one piece, so that's kind of important. And then definitely protection. If you've got a pistol, I would definitely take that, preferably a couple pistols of different caliber, because if if the situation's bad enough, there may not be any place to find ammo that's compatible with one of your pistols, but it may be compatible with the other. Also, I would recommend throwing a rifle across the shoulder, because you'll need that. Pistols are good for self-defense, but pistols aren't good for hunting. So for hunting, you'll need the accuracy of the rifle. Other items that would go in the bug out bag would be items for bartering. When and if an SHTF scenario occurs, the paper dollar will probably be 100% worthless. So people are going to want goods that, essentials like toothpaste and deodorant, and just items that we look at as necessities for day-to-day life. But in an SHTF scenario, those would be tools, those would be luxury items that people would be willing to barter for. Also, fractional gold, fractional silver. If someone needs a high dollar purchase for their survival, they might be able to barter with those fractional ounce pieces of gold or silver to get whatever they may need. So other things in there, I mean, just think of other things. If you needed to be visible, maybe some bright colored fabric or something. If you were in a situation where you needed to attract people's attention from the air, you can get that bright orange. It's like a I don't know what to call it, but it's like construction stuff. The bright orange, very thin, plasticky type tape that's highly visible. You could get a roll of that and put in there. And if you needed to mark off an area for landing zone or whatever, you could make yourself more visible. And then also you could start a fire and create smoke signals to attract attention. Compass, you need a compass. Something shiny like a magnifying glass. If you need to attract attention from someone far away, you can shine that and use the sunlight during the day to get their attention. And also with a magnifying glass, you can use it to start a fire by focusing by amplifying the power of the sunlight on leaves or whatnot. So I know the list goes on, but the main thing is to have all of the essentials in that bug out bag, because that quite possibly in an SHTF survival scenario, that quite possibly could be all that someone has for at least a few days until they meet up with others and or find a resource for a source rather for additional survival items, food, water, etc. So thanks for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/IrixGuy. And one thing I want to point out, my preparations may seem very weak in comparison to others, and I respect people that have put a lot of money as well as time into their preps. I personally don't invest. I mean, I've invested very little money, and what I have invested is because I go backpacking and stuff anyway, so I've already got this gear. So most of what I've invested is the energy to plan for an SHTF scenario. So if something does happen, where am I going to go? Who am I going to call? How am I going to communicate with them? That sort of thing. So, you know, just to have a plan in place, and hopefully nothing will happen, but with the uncertainties of 12/21/12 coming around, and also the financial collapse that seems to be in progress right now, I personally believe it's important to be prepared for whatever. Because when and if something happens, it's not going to be like, oh, wait a minute while I get my stuff. No. It's going to be boom. Everybody's going to have to react, and it'll be survival of the fittest. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. And again, subscribe. It's youtube.com/IrixGuy. And y'all have a good day. Feel free to share this video with others.